Okay, so we're finishing up here, grinding these peppercorns. I know it's easier doing the other thing electric, but I just don't like mechanical things. And I can kind of see the size of my peppercorns, and I just like to do it this way. And of course, you can do a lot of this and put it in a bottle and use it later on. All right, so one more word about the grill before we go there. My grill, I had it made per my design. I've got a gas in the bottom with lava rock. I've got a handle over here that I can roll this grill up or down for whatever heat I want to achieve. Right now, I've got the central part of this grill at about 500 degrees. I had an extra shelf built up top for what you do with that steak that maybe is thinner, or someone wants it more rare and you're still cooking the other steaks for people. You can move those steaks up here to not a cold area, but at least a warm area where they're not going to cook anymore. Now, about your charcoal grill, I have several that I'm pretty impressed with. My personal preference, and no, I'm not getting anything for saying this, but I like Weber grills. You can see what you're doing. They control the temperature well, lifting the top on and off as you want, and you can actually smoke on those things. But anything that holds temperature and that you can put charcoal in, if you're using charcoal or hardwood, don't do what a lot of people do, is cover the bottom in charcoal. For one thing, you're going to be way too hot, and for the second thing, again, charcoal is very expensive in this country. So you want to use the least amount that you can, and you want to go to one side of that grill and you want to build a little triangle, a little pyramid. Do not light it with lighter fluid. Get one of the cans that you can put paper in the bottom, put the charcoal on top, and then put it out in the corner, okay? The reason we don't like to use lighter fluid, that stuff's full of chemicals. It's terrible for the ozone, and yes, most of it burns off. But if you don't absolutely clean the bottom of your pit so clean after you use it, it builds up a crust. And that lighter fluid, as you keep adding to it, never leaves that crust. So it's going to end up in the taste of your meat. So the best way to do always is the natural way. Stay away from the chemicals as much as you can. Same thing with the meat. Our meat comes, almost all of it, from my ranch. We never, ever, ever use hormones or antibiotics. People don't understand how important no hormones is to beef, not only for the health side, but for the tenderness in the meat and the juiciness in the meat. An all-natural, hormone-free piece of meat is always going to be better and a ton better for you. And I will tell you, my grandkids and my kids have never gone to a fast food hamburger place, because if we don't know what's in it, I don't want my family eating it. Enough said about that. All the meat at Hartley Ranch, our restaurants, and in our meat markets is imported, USDA certified, hormone, antibiotic free. I think you can tell a big difference. Okay, last thing before we actually put the meat on the grill, you want a little smoke in it. A lot of people do, but you're on gas. What do? You take some wood chips, where you can buy anywhere. These are natural wood chips. You can buy them in pecan wood, oak wood, all kinds of different sweet woods that smell great and make the meat taste great. So these are dry. What I would do, I don't have a sink handy right here, but what I would do is I would soak these in water for about 20 minutes before I apply them to the grill. And I'm not going to put it on the grill right away. Why? Because it's just going to go away. We're going to add these about the last 2 minutes, something like that. We're going to get a little smoke, but not an overpowering smoke. You smoke cheaper cuts of meat. you grill or roast expensive cuts of meat. Why? Because the flavor's there. You don't need to add a lot of anything other than salt and pepper. Okay, here we go. Take my tongs. Here we are at the grill, nice and hot. What's the first thing you notice about your grill? My main heat's in one corner. In your circular grill, it's going to be on one side. Don't break that down. Why? Because you've got to go to a cold place. You may be cooking a thick New York strip for one customer or one guest and a thin ribeye. And the customer, say, wants them both medium rare. Obviously, we cannot cook these steaks for the same amount of time at the same spot. Just can't do it. All right, so first steak on, I'm gonna put a little more pepper on it. Oh yeah, not too much again because we're gonna flip this steak. I don't wanna lose that expensive pepper in the charcoal. So here we go. Where am I going first? The thicker cut of meat. So here we go. We're on the grill and it's sizzling. You gotta love that sound. After all these years, I still love that sound. And we're gonna cook that for about 30 seconds. And what I'm doing with it right now, I'm on that 500 to 550 degree temperature, and I want to sear the outside surfaces. Everybody hear that? Sear the outside surface. Another way you could do this is if you had something like this, even a cookie sheet, anything, and put it aside on your grill, you can sear it right on top. All right, I got a good sear on that outside. I'm going to go ahead and turn this. See why we didn't want to put too much pepper on this, because some of it's going to get lost. Oh yeah, I've already got a grill mark on this steak. So I'm going to let that go for about 30 seconds. Now, people ask me, how long do I cook it if I want it medium rare? Or how long do I cook it if I want it well done? The answer is, it every bit varies with the cut of meat you're using, the thickness of cut, how much marbling or fat there is, marbling flecks in the interior muscle of the steak itself to keep it juicy. So it's a variable. If I'm going to cook a T-bone, a ribeye, or a New York strip, I'm going to cook them all or cut them all myself to be about 16 ounces, so 1 pound. And you can pretty much give it 6 minutes total cooking time per pound. So if it weighs 16 ounces, I would cook it for about 6 minutes. All right, we're already a minute into this New York strip. And now I'm going to do something pretty cool with this. We've got an outside grill mark on the first sear. Now I'm going to flip it and I'm going to turn it vertical to this mark. Oh, and I've got another good one on the other side too. Now I'm doing a crisscross grill mark. Do I need that grill mark on both sides of the steak? No. Everybody thinks you do. Why? The person that's eating it only sees one side. So I'm not going to worry about flipping the meat too often and moving it around and knocking the seasoning off. I only need that grill mark on one side. And here about another 30, 40 seconds, I'm going to have my grill mark done on that strip. While I'm doing that, I'm headed to the grill. I'm going to put a little bit of salt on. I'm headed to the grill with my ribeye. See how much thinner it is. I want both of these medium rare. So what's the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to sear it. There it goes, 550 degrees. I hope you can hear that. I don't know if you can or not, but it's sizzling. Okay. Our strip is now about 2 minutes in, and the total amount of time that I want to cook this strip, that's about 1.5 inches thick. I don't want to cook that strip total time over about 6.5 minutes. During that time, I'm going to achieve an internal temperature of about 135 degrees Fahrenheit. 135 degrees Fahrenheit is a pure medium rare. Now, I see people do this all the time. They're not sure if the steak is rare, medium rare, whatever. So what are they doing? They're taking a knife, they're cutting into it, they're looking at it, they're putting it back on the grill. You don't need to do that. You can either do this, get one of the temperature deals and just stick it in the middle of the steak, watch it hit 135 degrees, you're done. Now, remember that once we take this steak off and rest it for 5 minutes before we actually serve it, it's going to cook another 3 to 4 degrees on its own, just sitting on the plate. So if you want a true medium rare, you need about 132 degrees before you take it off the grill and set it aside so it can rest. As it rests, it's reclaiming all its juices. Isn't that a thing of beauty? Now, I'm going to set this strip over on the non-grill mark side. I'm going to add some more salt because I'm not going to be turning this steak after this. And I'm going to add my final little shot of this expensive black pepper. Okay. Meanwhile, my ribeye is still on the intense part of the flame. And I'm going to go ahead and flip that. Oh, beautiful. And sear this other side. Not going to add seasoning again yet because again, we're going to go through a process where we flip that to come up with the rest of the grill marks. Cooking away, sizzling. Okay, now we've got drippings coming down on the lava rock. I'm really picking it up, and the smoke and the smell. I wish you were here. It smells absolutely wonderful.